Derby County are searching the transfer market for a brand new number 9. We spoke about two yesterday in Jake Young and Will Keane, and today we're heading into another one. As you've probably seen by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be discussing Ipswich Town's El Hamadi, who previously played at AFC Wimbledon. He also previously had a trial with Derby County too, and he's a player who I think is on Paul Warne's radar, and I think he could be the one who the parent club is not willing to let them go. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL League One and Championship content heading your way. Just a couple of days ago, I posted my League One preview and review, so make sure you go and check that out, as well as the Championship one, and make sure you check out the videos from yesterday about Will Keane and Jake Young, as well as the Bristol City preview. Well, here we have it then. Meet El Hamadi, a 22-year-old who is currently at Ipswich Town. He has previously spent time on trial at Moor Farm before he made that move to AFC Wimbledon. He played for the under-21s, I believe, in a trial game in which I believe he scored, but don't quote me on that. And unfortunately, due to our situation during that season and then ending up in administration, we was unable to secure a deal for El Hamadi, and unfortunately, he then ended up going on to AFC Wimbledon, where he went from strength to strength, and then he ended up at Ipswich Town, where I don't particularly think he's in the plans there for the Premier League, but they, at this point, haven't yet been able to bring in another number 9, which I believe is what they want to do, and I think that is what is holding back a potential deal for anyone to go and pick up El Hamadi. Now, there will be a bunch of Championship interest if he does become available, but I do think this is probably the man which Paul Warne is waiting for. Now, if we do look a little bit deeper into his career, he's played at Ipswich, Wimbledon, Swansea, Wycombe and Bromley. He's made a total of 115 appearances, totaling nearly 7,000 minutes, where he scored 42 goals, collecting 12 assists with 14 yellow cards and the 1 red card. Now, I personally believe El Hamadi is perfect for what we're trying to do. I think he could play in a two-man set. He can play up top on his own. I think he's certainly a player who can help us. Now, if we go through where he's been the most effective, he scored 27 and got 8 assists in 48 appearances at Wimbledon. Scored 6 times in 22 games for Swansea's under-18s. 4 goals, 1 assist for Ipswich Town in 16 appearances. 1 goal for Wycombe in 13. 3 goals and 2 assists for Bromley in 10. 1 goal and 1 assist for Swansea's under-21s. Now, some of those numbers don't necessarily look amazing, but when you think about Ipswich Town, he wasn't the main striker. If you look at Wimbledon, where he was the main striker, I think his numbers are really, really good. And obviously, the Wycombe and Bromley was still really, really young when he played for them. So if we look a little bit deeper into his positional metrics, and obviously for Derby County, if he was to come in, he'd be the main number 9. 60 appearances there, 32 goals, 8 assists. He's played on the right and the left, totaling 14 appearances, 4 goals and 3 assists on the right, with 12 appearances and 4 goals on the left. Now, if he comes to Derby, he'd play in one of two positions, in my opinion. He'd either play as that sole number 9, well, 3 positions really. He'd either play as a sole number 9, or he'd play in a two-man set with Jerry Yates, or he'd be the main man, the main central player in a 3-4-3 with maybe a Mendez-Lang and a Caden Jackson, or a Mendez-Lang and a Jerry Yates sitting off in those 2 inside 10 positions. And I do think that this could be a really good deal for Derby County. Now, ultimately, for this player, there has not been any official links. There's been a lot of murmurs within the forum and things like that, and if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County and EFL transfer news and previews and reviews for the match days over the course of the season. Obviously, let me know your thoughts down below on the potential signing of El Hamadi to Derby County. I think it could be an absolutely massive one, so make sure you let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you in the next part of this video. I do think El Hamadi would be a brilliant signing for Derby County, especially when you look at that depth chart, especially up in those forward areas. You look at Yates, who I think's the best striker at the club. Collins, who I think him and Brown are probably 50-50. I think if you gave Brown the same minutes as Collins, I think they'd probably score a similar number of goals. Obviously, in my opinion, Brown has a higher ceiling because Collins is practically at his ceiling. If anything, he's going to go backwards from now on. Obviously, Connor Washington, I don't even think he's going to touch the pitch this season, if I'm completely honest. And it wouldn't surprise me if we were to go and get Jake Young, like I mentioned yesterday, if the likes of Connor Washington and Dejan Brown went the other way. Washington on a permanent, Brown as a loan, sort of fill out those roles. Now, if it was up to me, Derby County should sign 2 strikers just to give a bit of extra competition to Yates, let Brown go out on loan. I don't quite think we'll do that. I think we'll be lucky if we get 1 striker in and 1 centre-half, if I'm perfectly honest. Now, you're seeing this at 9 o'clock on deadline day. There is obviously a lot that's going to go on today. We are going to be staying across here on the channel. Every player that gets linked will be getting a player profile uploaded as quickly as possible. So make sure you've hit that subscribe button and you're sticking around for these videos, because it's going to be really interesting to see how this develops. Now, what type of deal would it be for El Hamadi? Now, for some other players, I'd probably say we'd go for a permanent, but for this one, I don't think that's going to be in our budget. So I personally believe it'll be a season-long loan deal or a 6-month loan deal where he comes in. If he plays enough, they won't drag him back. If he doesn't, then they'll drag him back. If he's not performing, they might move him somewhere else, things like that. Now, obviously, the big question around this deal would be, what do Ipswich need in order for him to be able to go? And I do think it is a number 9. I know they've been trying with Broya and a couple of other players for their number 9 position. And obviously, it's one of those for me where we always seem to be relying on somebody else to do something, which is obviously how the transfer market works. They get a better player, they let their lesser player go, and that's how depth works and stuff like that. But I think for us at Derby County, we've known since last summer we needed a striker, and the fact that only Jerry Yates was pinpointed and brought in to play that position so far, I think is a bit poor. I understand that strikers are, like, everybody wants a good striker, but I think you should be on the money with what you want when you want it and sort of get in there as early as possible. Now, obviously, a lot can still happen. There's obviously, I think, just over 24 hours left. Well, just under 24 hours left when you're watching this. It's just over as I'm recording, and it is going to be really interesting to see what does happen with these deals, because the likes of Jake Young coming in from Bradford, I think would be a really, really good deal. It's a player who can develop with us, who sort of suits the sort of style which Paul Warne's trying to play, and I think he will get in the box and score goals. But with someone the likes of El Hamadi, you look at Ipswich, they might be looking for a better side for them to go to, whereas Jake Young is looking to improve, and we're an improvement on where he is now. So there's big question marks over the deals and the recruitment so far. We will be doing a full review of it after the Bristol City game. We're going to go through all the transfers we've made in and out, including the likes of Max Bird, who's moved on, and things like that, the loss of the loan players. We'll look into it all. But obviously this one could be a massive one. Will we get El Hamadi? I personally don't think it will happen. I think it would be a brilliant, brilliant deal, but personally I just don't think we have the capabilities to bring in a player of this stature. Now, despite the fact that I don't think this deal is going to happen, I think he is probably one of the players on Paul Warne's list. I think he's an excellent striker and can certainly develop much more than where he is now. I think he'd be an excellent signing for this season, and I think he would have a real impact. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but it's just one of those for me where I just feel like he's probably a bit out of our range. Obviously, let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. We've got another striker video coming out in the next hour, so make sure you stay tuned for when that video drops. There's lots of links and talks going on right now, but make sure you stay tuned for everything. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.